Check out the Male Advantage paperback, ebook, and audiobook using the links below. Okay guys, welcome back to another video. In this video we're going to be I forgot what we're going to be talking about, bear with me. Okay guys, so in this video we're going to be looking at why the male advantage is so hard to believe. And it's great that we're all having this discussion as well. And it seems like every video I'm making at the moment is based off the back of a Hamza video, but he's just making really sick content. I've really thrown myself back into content, researching the men's industry, watching as much as I can. I'm watching Jordan Peterson and stuff again. So when you come up with the best ideas, when you've got multiple minds. So one piece of content that he made was regarding me and Hamza, me and himself promoting the male advantage so much. And saying that guys get better with age, right? And naturally, we've come across a ton of resistance. And the thing is, guys, I completely understand why. And Hamza's saying the same thing. He's like, this needs to be explained more from, both of us. We need to do a much better job. Especially me, because I'm 29. I've seen this shit happen. A lot of my friends are older. I've seen every step of this way, okay? And as I've been a heavy promoter of this, I need to explain this better to you guys because it's not fair otherwise. Now, one thing I want to start with is, there is little evidence, okay? I do agree with you guys. If somebody said to me, is there a ton of 30, 40, and 50-year-old guys out there killing it? I'd be like, fuck no. Okay, so it's so hard to believe in something when nobody is doing it. Right, and it almost sounds counterintuitive. It's almost like an oxymoron. Well, I don't know if it's an oxymoron, but it's very counterintuitive for me to be like, the male advantage is coming up, work towards it, but there's very few examples of it out there. You're like, hang on a minute. Are you telling me? I'm almost blindly leading you. But here's the thing, guys. We live in a generation now where the average guy is 21% body fat. That alone just fucks everything up. Okay, and as guys get older, that just rises through the roof. We live in a world now where the average guy's testosterone levels have dropped to the lowest level they've ever been in human history. They are pathetically low. The average now is between 250 and 900. The average guy sits at 600, whatever. It's dropping to 550. It's pretty pathetic, okay, because pre-war, I think pre-World War II, they did the same tests, and the average was 1,150 or something like that. It was significantly higher. And it was considered low if a guy was 800-900. Whereas today that would be considered really high, okay? That would be, well, at least high on the scale. And you'd be very dominant, etc. So, we've got a different vibe now. Guys are gamers. Guys are sat in front of TVs for 10 hours per week. Well, probably more, 20 hours per week. We're not men anymore. We're not like we used to be. We're a different format of men, and that's fine within itself too, but in terms of the male advantage, we're missing it. This is one thing that me and Hamza really talked about that we need to promote more, is the male advantage exists as long as you work. That's the key right there, guys, as long as you put in the work. If you're not going to put in the work, then how the fuck do you expect to just wake up one day, 35 years old, and be like, damn, I'm sexy as fuck. Look at me. I look like David Gandy on steroids. Yeah, I knew this would happen. Chris was right. And I've got a big fear because in 10 years time, I could see a lot of you guys unsubscribing from the channel or being like, this guy was a fucking liar because you didn't work for it. Okay, you cannot sit there and be like, I've got time. It's fine, because I know there's a huge percentage of guys doing this, being like, I've got time. It's fine. Chris said I get better with age anyway. It's it's not guaranteed, okay? This is the beautiful thing about being a man, okay? It's 90% of men are unattractive to women. Oh, that's not fair because women are so hot. Women are hot naturally. I've spoken about all of this before. They don't have to put in any work. Yeah, but that's a gift. That's a gift because we're forced to work. We're forced to have to do something about it, which is what makes men great. Okay, so you're almost presented as a man with two scenarios. It's like a crossroads. You got right and left. If you've put all the work in, let's say, when they say you go up to heaven and then I think it's Peter. one of the disciples, he's there and he looks at all the good things and bad things you did and he decides whether you go to heaven or hell, all this shit, right? I'm not really a religious person, but I did go to a Catholic school. I know all the stories. And I believe that that's sort of like the scenario that a man gets when he turns 30 or he gets into his male advantage years, is you almost get to like a dividing point where they go, okay, how much work did you put in on yourself? How much did you sacrifice? Did you give up things? Did you reinvest your money? How hard did you work? Did you dedicate your weekends? Like, did you do 5-6 years of intense bodyweight of like bodybuilding or whatever, or like in the gym or whatever your thing is? Did you work on a business? Did you take risks? Like, all this stuff is added up. And if it's like, no, I didn't do any of that. I sat in front of the TV. I watched porn. I basically did nothing with my life. I chased women and I drank alcohol. But you go that way. And your 30s and 40s and whatever, they're going to be significantly worse unless you do something about it. Like, that is a guarantee. You will be uglier and less attractive in your 30s and 40s than you were in your 20s. And then you'll be like, Chris was a liar. If you're on the other side of the coin where you've worked your nuts off, you are significantly better looking, you are like 10 times more attractive, your life is 10 times better. It is nuts, okay? The dividing line that happens at like 30 years old, that split is enormous. Like I said, I'm 29, I'm 8 months away from 30. I know this because I've seen it happen, but I also know this because year upon year, this is slowly happening. The gap between men like myself and the guys that went out and got drunk is just going like that. It's massive. Like, it's getting bigger every single year. They look worse now. They have probably less money. They've got 2-3 kids. They've got less time. They're stressed out of their nut. Whereas guys like me, it's like we're going from strength to strength to strength to strength. Every single 6 months, I feel as though I'm a different man. I feel as though I move up one single point. I believe just 1 year and 6 months ago, I was like a 3 out of 10. I believe now, if, you know, under the best circumstances, when I'm like as lean as I can possibly be, nice clothes, all the assets I'm going to add in, it might be like an 8, okay? It might be a 7 or 8 out of 10. Yeah, fair enough, right? That sort of leap that you can take moving towards your 30s, that's fucking nuts. That's fucking nuts. And like how some guys can go that way, some guys can go that way. It's a perfect dividing line that splits those who didn't work hard and those who did. And that is the male advantage. It's there for the taking if you do something about it. It's the best years of our life, guys. And this is why I want you guys to believe in it so much as well. Because if you don't believe in it, you're not going to work hard, are you? You're not going to put in the effort to reach it. But if you see that it's there and you believe in it and you trust in the process and you can understand, okay? It makes sense. Like, men are valued on different things: success, assets, hard work, like maturity, you know, who we've become as a person, our physical stature. These are all things that take time. Like, you're not going to become successful in 3 weeks. But you can go and get drunk and get laid in 3 weeks. Like, there's certain things that take time and they become valued as you get older. And if you're able to get in shape, add some muscle, build more of a masculine frame, you're doing submentals, neck exercises, low body fat, water retention, and you look sharper, you don't look puffy like you did when you're a kid, of course you're going to look better, right? But it's not easy to do this shit because you're having to, like, I tell guys all the time, track your calories, track your macros, make sure your carbs are below a certain amount, and look, you're going to have a lean face, you're going to look pretty shredded, take this supplement, chew this gum, like all these different things, but it's hard to keep up with that. You're going to have to be some sort of disciplined guy to be able to do it. This is why there are so few examples of the male advantage. Number one, how many guys actually know this shit that I speak about on video? There's obviously a lot more now because you guys watch the videos, but there's not many. Like, from the previous generation, barely any guys know this shit. I talk to guys that are in their 30s and 40s all the time in the gym, and I'm like, oh, yeah, if you want to get, like, if you want to look more like this, if you want to change this, oh, how are you trying to get in shape? They're like, oh, I want my legs to look like yours. What do you do? Oh, 1 session of heavy, 1 session of light. Do you do glute training? Nah, never done glutes. Start doing glute training. It's a massive muscle mass. I do a lot of like chick training, like female training. I'll do like the kickbacks, the side kicks, the hip thrusts. It makes you look better. It puts everything into place. I spoke to a guy the other day in his 40s, late 40s as well. He was like, when I was growing up, if a man trained like glutes, he was weird. Like, we never did that shit. He was like, it was just quads. That's all it was, just quads all the time. Like big hamstrings and quads, but mainly quads. He was like, as long as you had big quads, you were the man. And like, times have evolved, things have changed. And a lot of guys don't have this information. That's step one. number two is the sheer laziness of this generation and previous generations too. But the sheer laziness from, I'd say, the last 50 years, like weak men everywhere. Like very few men are willing to do what they need to do. Like there's times, a great example, like I'll be doing hill sprints, I've done 9 and I'm about to throw up. I'm like, nobody's around. I could just stop at 9. Nobody's going to know. And then I'm like, but I would fucking know. I would know. I got to do the 10th one. I do the 10th one, I might be throwing up. Like I had that situation in summer. It's just, I've got like this, like a competitor's mindset from when I used to play sports and stuff like that. My dad instilled it in me. Not a lot of guys have got that. Where I was talking to a guy the other day, he was 34 years old? And he was like, you're in good shape. Like, what do I need to do? And I was like, look, I'll teach you everything you need to do, but how's your mindset? He was like, it's shocking. I wake up in the morning, I know I should go to the gym, but I don't. I put it off to the evening. He said, by the evening, I just want to eat, watch TV. I'm too tired. I haven't got the energy. Like, it's just a vicious cycle, and a lot of guys have experienced in that. And because of that mindset, because of that lack of energy, because they make poor diet choices, because they're masturbating, watching porn, like, porn and masturbation is free for a reason. It's there to keep you down. If everybody's a winner, it fucks you up, okay? There's multiple things like this, like the way that OnlyFans has been created and it hasn't been taken down, like, it's basically prostitution, but it's just allowed to keep running. There's certain things that are put in place to keep you suppressed, especially as a man. I made this video before. Okay, there is an agenda to make men weak, because if men are weak, the whole population is a lot easier to control. So if you can, this is the great thing about the male advantage. Okay, if you can put a minimal amount of work in, 10% effort, you end up rising to the top. So that male advantage in this generation is amplified like 20, 30 fucking X, because nobody's doing it. Men are fatter than ever. Men have got lower testosterone than ever. Erectile dysfunction, higher rate than ever. You know, infertility, higher rates than ever. Low quality sperm, higher rates than ever. Okay, how much we're watching TV, how much we're playing games, higher rate than ever. It doesn't, like, even going bald is like a higher rate than ever, because everyone's living terrible lifestyles. You know, some people's high testosterone, for some people it's hormone imbalance with high estrogen for some men. That's like 90% of bald men at the moment. And like a lot of things are being fucked up in male life, and your competition pool is lower than ever. But here's where it really takes over, okay, with the male advantage, is men are valued highly on their success. They're valued highly on their assets, maturity, like things that make a man, okay? Ability to provide, you know, the king, the alpha, the kind of cemented figure, the fatherhead, whatever you want to call it. We're valued on a lot more of that shit than we are like our looks. It matters, but I'd say for men, like, body means more than face, okay? Once you get past like 22 years old. For women, it might be the other way around, depends on what a guy's into. But we have a different rule set, okay? So with that being said, why would women want guys who are under 28 years old, who haven't got money, who don't have assets, who haven't put their life together yet, who are immature, who, you know, aren't that good in bed compared to a guy who's in his 30s with a ton of experience? Like, it's quite difficult, okay, to find that attractive. But then why would a woman want a guy who's in his 30s or 40s, who's fat, bald, you know, just not really going anywhere in life, lacks ambition, lazy, sits in front of the TV, has low energy, has ED, like his dick doesn't even get hard? Like, why would she want him either? Okay, it's very tough. But then you get the best of both worlds if you're a guy who's in his male advantage years, let's say 30 to 50, who does have money, who can provide, who is mature, who has success under the belt, who has status, clout, whatever it might be. He's in fantastic shape because he's really worked on himself. He eats clean, so he looks unbelievable. You know, he's got rid of like that puppy fat look that you have when you're in your 20s, and he's in his 30s. He just looks lean, just looks chiseled. He's figured out his look, his dress sense, like his assets are great. He's more mature. He understands women better. Of course, she's going to go for somebody like him because he has everything all encompassed into one individual man. You know, he's got the best of both worlds. It's like I've often said to you guys, most men have like the body in their teens and 20s. Once they get to their 30s, they've lost the body, but they've got the money. And in their teens and 20s, they don't have the money. It's almost like we do like a swap effect. Okay, so you've got the body and no money. You get to your 30s, you got the money and no body. It's like, if you can just keep the body in place and just let that money build up, you can have both. You really step into your male advantage years. You know, it's worth the sacrifice of making it. But there's very few examples out there, guys. I will agree with anybody on that. Like, there's a lot of celebrity examples. They've got, but they've got coaches, steroids, and all these different things in place. But in the general male population, I wouldn't say there's many. I'd say there's some guys who have stayed in shape that look 5-10 years younger than what they are. But male advantage users, like outlier males, guys who are absolutely fucking killing it, they're out there. Yeah, of course they are, but they're so rare. But that's your advantage. There's one of you, there's like 1,000 women for every one of you. There's like 1,000 beautiful women for every, like, outlier male. Okay? Like, there's 8s, 9s, and 10s throwing themselves at this guy because there's nobody else like him. They know that he's the prize because, like, where the fuck are you going to find another one? That's why these women get a little bit nuts. They get thirsty. They're chasing this guy years later. There's just very few. Okay? And it's not until you go through those gears and you start rising up the ranks that you realize, oh, actually, yeah, the competition is so low. Like Mark Cuban once said, like, he was running his business, he was going to all these events, he was panicking because he was like, my competitors are doing the same. He found out they weren't. He was like, nobody's doing this shit. It was literally a cakewalk straight through to the finish line. Now I'm a billionaire. He was like, it was that easy. Nobody was doing the research. Nobody was going to the events. He was like, people are just lazy. And if you're the one who does, you come out on top. I said to a guy earlier in the DMs on Instagram, like, don't forget that every, like, 6 months of hard work that you put in, you just bypass, like, 5-10% of men. You just start bypassing them with every 6 months of hard work that you put in. Okay? If it's just like 6 months of gym work, you bypass like 10% of men straight away because they're not doing it. Like, barely any guys are doing anything. And that's why there's so few examples in the male advantage. That's why people are always in my comments, like, some guy said the other day, but Chris, don't men peak at 27 because by 30, you've got the belly. He was like, by 30, you've got fat belly. I mean, like, that's nuts that he thinks that. Because, like, I'm 30 in 8 months, I will be more shredded than I've ever been before. I will be 10% body fat, 90 kg, and jacked. Like, I'll look as good as I possibly can because I put the work in. And he's not wrong either. Because the reason is, for him to think that and to be like, but once you get to 30, you get the belly. That's obviously what he's seeing. That's his experience. You cannot deny that. And look, I'll be honest, I'm seeing the same thing. I'm seeing the same thing, but not in my own life. And not in the life of the men that I respect. I'm seeing my uncle at 56 years old sleeping with women who are 20, 29 years old within that bracket. And he's been doing that for like 30 years. Okay, he's the fucking man. Real handsome dude, stayed in shape, in the gym 5 times a week. Like, he's killing it. He's got a great life, great sex life. He tells me about it a little bit too much, but it is what it is. High testosterone guys, that's what they do. And I've seen evidence of this. I've seen my dad in Barcelona with like 6-7 women around him, going out for drinks, in his 50s with cancer because he's just stayed in shape, worked on himself, put himself in a great position. Obviously, he was declining towards the end, but, I've seen that take shape. I've seen that take place. I've got great examples in my life. And I was chatting to Hamza the other day and I was like, we need to, like, it's so important for us in the next like 3 to 5 years that we show you this. And like by February 1st, I'm putting something big in place for you guys. You're going to love it. It's going to be a lot of changes. But I'm going to start like really doing this stuff now so that when I enter my male advantage years, you can be like, okay, he's proved the concept. He did the work. He spoke about this. He's got the money in place. He's got the body in place. He's got everything. Okay, now he's enjoying it. Yeah, he's actually living it. This guy wasn't talking porkies. Like, he's actually proving the concept. We don't need to know anybody else that's doing it because this one guy did it. The one guy that's telling us in the videos how to do it, what to do, he's gone and done it. So, like, what more do you need to know? So I think I've got a massive duty in the next couple of years, especially the next 8 months, to put all that in place. That's why I'm building the life setup, episode 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go through all that, which is going to be really fun, building that through summer. But February 1st, I'll tell you what, I'll make the first episode in a couple of days. That should be when I get this thing coming through. And then February 1st, I'll make the episode 2 so you guys can really see behind the scenes, like, what's going on. It should be really fun. But I've got a real duty to do this in the next few years to, like, prove the male advantage concept. Okay? And if I don't do it, guys, I'm happy for all of you to call me a liar. Okay? Because I'm that confident that this will all take place, okay? Because I'm seeing the results of like what's going on in my own life. I'm seeing eights come my way, you know, when before it was like fives and sixes. Like I've seen it change as I've got older. I've seen myself be in the best shape of my life now. More money than ever, better assets. Like it's all taking shape, and it's like, of course the male advantage is a real thing. Okay, I always believed in it. I thought I saw examples of it. I'm now living it. It makes perfect sense, okay, guys? But I get it. There's not many examples. You almost need to believe blindly, like a cult, like a religion. But because I'm older than most people on this channel, I'm going to prove it first. I've taken all the risks. You know, it's all coming together. So you guys are going to have a perfect example of that. I think it's key that I would do that. But no, I get it, guys. There's not many examples out there. But you have to believe that men get better with age, okay? Because you can't base your life and your expectations off like I said before, like Bob in your factory, okay? The guy who is like 42 years old, who hates life, who's got an ugly missus, who never worked hard, and you're like, yeah, but that's what I'm going to look like when I'm old. It's like, that's not you though. If you're on this channel, you got more ambition than Bob. You're not going to look like that. Like, I've got too much discipline and self-pride to look like that. I'm working on myself every single day. If I'm putting in 100 hours per week on like my body, my success, whatever, I've just pulled that number out of my ass. But if I'm putting that much in and Bob's putting 0, like, come on, like, how long is it going to take before that exponential effect pays off and we're different species of fucking human? Okay, so the male advantage exists. It's in short supply, but that's an advantage to you as long as you believe in it, because you're going to have less competition than ever. Like, it's almost like a fucking 100x in this generation. I swear to God, it's that easy now. But the other thing is, as long as you work for it, okay, guys, you've got to be putting in the work. It could be a 10-year journey. Start as early as you can. Make the sacrifices. I promise you it will pay off. Check out the Male Advantage paperback, ebook, and audiobook using the links below.